Hello, and welcome back. This is your average Warhammer painter. Today we'll be painting the Kronos Hegemony from the Leagues of Votann, using 5 different contrast yellow paints, starting with Imperial Fist Yellow. Now, we're going to be applying the Imperial Fist Yellow in exactly all the leathery spots of the suit, and making sure not to be worried because right now the yellow is going to go everywhere, but because of how the Kronos Hegemony's color scheme, yellow and black works, it's going to be easier to cover up the yellow instead of starting off with the black, which will make it extremely difficult to cover up once we get that going. So we're going to start with the yellow, and we're going to make sure to get it everywhere, or at least the main important parts: the boots, the pants, the arms, and the jacket, and the upper arm parts. So the reason we're trying to use contrast yellow paint is because we're trying to save on time. I have over at least 300 miniatures to paint, and I am now realizing that this edition, 10th edition, is almost over. So I quickly want to get at least 2 armies done this year, maybe 3. My main priorities are going to be my favorite faction, of course, being the Leagues of Votann, and my Kronos Hegemony faction. The second, I'm hoping it's either my Guard or my new Emperor's Children. And lastly, my main focus, my World Leaders, but we'll see how far we get. And the and going back to the reasoning, contrast paint, it works much faster, it's much easier to use for people who are starting out. And I'm, to be certain, very average. I am not one of the greatest artists, but hopefully with this series it will be a let's work together and paint together kind of painting style videos. So now we have a finished Imperial Fist Yellow Kronos Hegemony model, and I really like the color. It's very vibrant, very warm, and I can see why so many people are pulled to it. And next, we're going to be moving to the next contrast paint, which will be the Bad Moon Yellow. And I think this is from the new series, so it's a more colder paint, I think. It often feels more cold and more devoid, and as you see, as I'm applying it, I'm trying to get into the recesses there. Now, as we are trying to get behind the model, you can tell that the big bag, this is, by the way, the model from the Kill Team set, I think the Salvagers from, I think it was last edition's Kill Team. I'm using these because they're a little bit more detailed, and if we can get through these, we can get through the other basic unit types from the hearthkyn. And I roughly have about, I think, 40 of those to paint. And here we are, and as you see right now, I'm not really worried about painting over the armor part, because that's going to be covered in black, and that's going to be really easy to do 2 layers and not show any mistakes. And then, more commonly missed, I try to get the neck part of the turtleneck part of the suit, and that is the completed model, looking very nice. It's very cold, it's saturated, very bright, but at the same time it feels kind of lifeless, like it's missing some color. And you know, now we're going to be moving on to Ironjaw's Yellow, and we're going to be painting this with, I think this is the Doctor, or the Comms Array model, in which we are applying the paint. And Ironjaw's Yellow, I would say, is the most neutral of the 5 yellow contrast paints that we're using. Currently, the 5 that are being used are Imperial Fist Yellow, Bad Moon Yellow, Ironjaw Yellow, Nasdreg Yellow, and Y.A.W.P Yellow. And same as before, we're trying to get to the recesses of the model. We're trying to get to all those little crevices, because yellow is a very bright color. If we miss something, the white will also shine, especially because on the white scar primer, it's a little bit harder to hide, and that's kind of like the scary part of working with yellows. Yellows tends to be a scarier color to work with everybody, or at least that's what everybody says in the hobby. But honestly, these contrast paints make it extremely easy to just have fun and paint yellow and not be scared. I'm not scared of painting yellow because these contrast paint make it easier. But if we start using the other paints, we'll see how that goes. Now we're going to be moving to Nastreg yellow. And this is more like a grimier yellow, a little bit dirty yellow. I would say it is warm. It's like giving, as you can see, orange vibes. More orangey yellow, more like a tangerine kind of style. And I quite like it, actually. It's really nice, but at the same time, I feel like it could be done better. But at the same time, it's kind of those things where I'm in conflict with this paint because it looks really good too at the same time, and it is just working really well in this case. And I'm actually might be eating my own words, but I actually do like this compared to the other ones. And as you can see, we have all the suit wear done, but I think at this point, I think it'll be really cool if we got the brass knuckles done in yellow. And black and yellow punches would be pretty cool. And then here we go, getting into the power cuff, the power connection of the brass knuckles. And electric brass knuckles seems so cool as a concept, especially for dwarves. And I missed a spot there, but we're going back to there. And yes, also the robotic legs and the robotic prosthetics are such a cool concept for the Leagues of Votann that I loved it for more models to be explored. And now we're moving to the last contrast paint, Y.A.W.P yellow. And this is the jump pack model, which I hope they make a unit of, because having 5 to 10 of these models just flying around will be really cool. And as we apply it, Y.A.W.P yellow is also a very warm yellow, and trying to get it everywhere possible, it just seems really good working with. It flows really good, it works really well, and I just like the idea of making this model kind of like a bee, like a wasp, a hornet, the flying hornet, as you can say for my Leagues of Votann. Last thing you expect to see is a 4-something dwarf flying at you at Mach 2, or I don't know how fast they're going on those jump packs, but just ramming into your chest with an axe and plasma pistol. I think it's a very cool idea, and I really like this model. I hope they do make more units of this. And because I would want to go with a B model, outside of the suit, I'm gonna actually paint the jump pack model and make sure I get the paint all over that, because it just seems cool to have. Because I think on the armory bits of the jetpack, I'm gonna paint it black, so it's gonna have a kind of like a wasp would be, like I said earlier. And I'm trying to realize how much of this do I want yellow, how much of this do I want to be black or another color. And I realized, let's go all yellow and work our way backwards to what actual colors I will feel more comfortable with. And as you can see, I get some on the helmet, and I'm actually noticing like, oh, that doesn't look that bad. So let me go finish that up. And now we have our wasp jumper ready to be painted. And I'm going to give it a quick look, and then I realize, I missed the bottom part, so let me paint that up really quick. And I'm getting it all over. And that's well enough good. I think it's fun not to be scared. I'm average, as the channel suggests. And one of the things is to maybe eventually get to something called your professional Warhammer painter, but that doesn't sound as good as Y.A.W.P, because as you can tell from the first video, or this is the redo of the first video, that I am a Y.A.W.P-er, and this is kind of a little bit of ASMR while enjoying the painting and the concept. But here we go. Here is our complete. Oh no, there's the spot right there actually. But here is the jetpack, and honestly, this model looks so cool, and I can't wait for more models like this to come out. The vents, the style, the Leagues of Votann are truly unique. But right here we have all 5 of the contrast yellow paints and how each model turned out. We're starting with the Imperial Fist model right here. And as you can see, I accidentally got some of the yellow on the beard, but we'll fix that later. And honestly, Imperial Fist, I see why so many people like it. It is a very vibrant color, a very nice color, and it has its uses. Bad Moon Yellow, I think, in my opinion, had to be my least favorite color, and one of those things that I felt like it was just too cold or maybe too neutral. Like, it's very bright and very shiny, but it feels devoid of life, which might work for the Kronos Hegemony, who are a warlike people, as their new Votann unit has recently just come into life. And this is our comms array, I think. And Iron Jaws Yellow was just the run of the mill yellow was really good. And I really did appreciate these colors. These colors are so good for an average painter. And Abstract Yellow was surprisingly like a sleeper hit for me. I thought it was going to be much worse, just be seeing because the bottle honestly looks brown, but it gave it a wonderful orangey look, and I think it's really good for the cohesiveness. I did paint all the 10 models using 2 of each contrast paint because I want to give it my League of Votann diversity and hoping that each one feels like a unique number of the kindred. And here is our bumblebees or hornet. Comment down below what we should be calling this flying unit until it actually does get a name, or if ever gets a name, because GW is like that. We don't know when we get units. Oh, I did miss a spot. I'll have to go back that in when we do the official painting video for the Kronos Hegemony, but that'll be for another day.